Sarah.
Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to our caregiving work in here in Israel. And I commend you for coming such a long way, such difficult times with Corona and so many issues that are so uncertain, and that you left your family and home and culture and everything. And good for you for being so adventurous. And yes, I think this is going to be a very, very exciting time for all of you here in Israel, and welcome. So firstly, I want to tell you that Anat and I and the rest of our team here, we're here to care for the caregivers. And we have this orientation presentation for you. I'm going to go through part of it today. You may see on the screen already part of my presentation. I'm going to be speaking for about more or less an hour and a half, perhaps, with a 5-minute break in the middle. And as Anat said, this program is for you. And this opportunity is for you for several reasons. Number one, we think that as a caregiver, your toolbox is actually made of your personality, your social skills, your caring skills, your emotional skills, your intellectual skills. All of those things are your toolbox in the caregiving profession. And so we want to talk about it. And we want you also to have some kind of a professional group that you can consult with. So this is the purpose of you getting to know each other in these strange times that everything is done on Zoom, but there are some advantages. So if you're all still in quarantine, or perhaps not everyone, this is like time out. It's a special kind of an opportunity to relax, to sleep, to get yourself oriented, to the time difference. And they say that an hour for each a day is needed for each hour in difference in time zones. So take the time, relax, and get yourself prepared. And hopefully this is what we want to do as well, to assist you in that process. Today, I'm going to talk about basic values in caregiving work, okay? Culture and values and the relationship with the elderly patient. So what are the basic values in caregiving work? Well, human dignity, autonomy, tolerance, empathy, compassion, and care. I'm going to talk about each one of these more specifically in a minute. What do these values mean in caregiving work? Well, let's talk about human dignity, a value that refers to a person's unique trait as a person. Dignity is the right of a person to be valued and respected for their own sake and to be treated ethically. Respect your patient's humanity, his privacy, his thoughts, his feelings, opinions, beliefs, his body, and maintain your patient's privacy and dignity. Well, those are a lot of words. So I would like to, kind of talk about some of those things. So first of all, you're coming into a stranger's home, and this is his safe place. This is the place where, he feels more secure, most comfortable. And here comes a stranger that looks different, that smells different, that speaks different, that has a different kind of energy about him, and of a different religion. So this is like a real, cause for anxiety, even though, the family is in desperate needs of your assistance, of your help, of your work, and they made all the arrangements and so on. But even so, on an emotional, psychological level, this is a lot of stress related, right, to having someone come into their home. And also, I want you to be minded that this is a crisis for your employer and his family. And so, the fact that a person needs to be respected, and privacy, feelings, opinions, beliefs, body, All of those things are such intimate issues. And here is a stranger that's, going to come and touch and move and, do things. And you have to understand it's very anxiety provoking, okay, for your employer. You're anxious too. For you, it's, new and, what's going to happen and so on. But you have to be minded of where they are as well. So, first of all, maintain your patient's privacy and dignity. Okay, I think this is a very important sentence. What does that mean? First of all, you want to be observant, okay? Slow and easy, right? First, you want to understand who's who, what's what are the needs, what are the expectations. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And not to move things, not to change things, to come in slowly and gently into the rhythm, into the pattern of the person's life. Okay, I think that's what it means. It means, to gently ask, can I do this? Can I do that? Would you like me to do this? Would you like me to do that? Very gently kind of learn the pattern and the rhythm of the way these people are living their life. Perhaps you're caring for a couple, I don't know, for a man, for a wife, for a woman, but even so, being invaded, so to speak, by a stranger, you have to be, minded of how difficult that situation is. It's difficult enough when you have to have help. And a person is in crisis because he has come to the conclusion that he cannot be independent anymore. And it's very degrading to need someone's help in that respect, not to be able to wash yourself, feed yourself, whatever, be independent in your mobility. It's a very degrading point. And when you have people that you love and love you, care for you, that's one thing. But to have a stranger into that situation is usually a bit more difficult. I have to say sometimes it's easier, but usually it's more difficult. And it's a process until you will no longer be a stranger, right? You're going to be part of his routine and part of his household and so on, and have confidence in you. But you have to understand the beginning, okay? So maintaining and respecting your patient's humanity, his privacy, his dignity is all about being very sensitive to where he is at this point in time, okay? Autonomy. Autonomy is the capacity to make an informed and uncoerced decision, self-directing freedom, especially moral independence. Give your patient the right to choose what he prefers to do, where he wants to go, and allow him to make decisions. Okay, this is also very important because part of maintaining a person's dignity is allowing to have some control over one's life, right? I mean, this is the big deal. Being able to decide if you're going to eat this or that for breakfast, get dressed with this, get dressed with that. You have to understand that your employer's life has basically become very, very minimal. And the control that he has over his day-to-day life and everything around him has also become very minimal. Perhaps, he's not in the position that he was in the family. He's not in the position that he was in his community, in his social circle, most usually not in his, in any circle. So his daily routine is about the only circle that, at this point, a big part of his life. And whatever autonomy or independence you allow your employer to have, that much more well-being you are allowing him, okay? So what do you want for breakfast? What do you want to wear? Even if the answer is every day the same thing, okay? Please ask and allow them to make the smallest possible decisions, okay? In every single aspect of their life. Tolerance. Toleration is allowing or permitting an acceptance of an action, idea, or object or person which one can sometimes dislike or disagree with. Be tolerant of your patient and give yourself time to get to know each other, even if you don't agree with him, and sometimes, but always respect him. So firstly, I want to say that, I don't know if anyone here, you can tell me in a few minutes, has ever come in contact with Jewish people or knows anything about a Jewish home. But first of all, I would assume it's different than you've experienced in the past if you have no knowledge of, how a Jewish home is run. And I'm assuming that most of you will be employed by Jewish families, perhaps not all. Some, we do have Muslims and Christians and other religions in our country, but I'm assuming that most of you will be working in Jewish homes. And so first of all, we all have prejudices. We all have preconceived ideas about how Christians are, how Jews are, how old people are, how young people are, how sick people are, how whatever, we all have kind of an idea in our head. And sometimes it's relevant and mostly it isn't. And I'm saying that this is part of you and part of your employer as well. So it is a process of getting to know each other. And even if, we have preconceived ideas about non-Jewish people and so on, once they know you, they'll understand what's real and what is not real about preconceived ideas. So the idea of being tolerant of someone who is different, and your home and your whole situation is going to be different than you're accustomed to in so many different ways. Firstly, I want to say that you've probably heard about the Jewish kitchen, but I would say that the kitchen is a very special place in every household. I think everybody has a special attitude towards their kitchen, the way they like to do things, where they put things, the way they clean, they don't clean, whatever. Kitchen is a special place, and food is very important to everyone. And in a Jewish home, you already know that, there is a lot of rules on how to prepare things, where to put things, separation of meat and milk, and sometimes there is also people don't eat certain things before certain things or after certain things and so on. So don't be insulted and don't be anxious about the fact that in the beginning, when they don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't know how you're going to, respect or honor their rules in the house or in the kitchen especially. If they ask you not to put your food with theirs, not to bring in different kind of food from the outside. In Israel, everything is available, everything. You'll go to the market, you'll go to the supermarket, you'll see you can buy anything and everything you like anywhere. And so, that Israel is a country of immigrants, and most people in this country have come from somewhere other than, being born here, especially the elderly people, right? So from all continents, from all countries of the world, people speak different languages and they have different ways of running their household, okay? A very different way of doing things. Some people speak Spanish and Russian and Ethiopian and Arabic and French and English and all the different languages you will find in our culture and in our, in our society. So you must be tolerant and give yourself time to get to know each other, okay? This is a process, 1 step forward, 2 backward, 2 forward, 1 backward, and it takes time. Empathy. Empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within his own frames of reference. That is the capacity to place oneself in another's position. Definitions of empathy encompass a broad range of emotional states. Try to empathize with your patient's physical and emotional condition. Well, this is easy to say, but again, if you need to empathize with someone, you have to get to know them, right? So you can know their medical record, perhaps, and if you have some medical training, you can understand if they're in pain, if they're in discomfort, if they're, if they have issues of memory loss and so on. But really, unless you get to know a person in a real way, you really don't know what his emotions and feelings are. You can only assume or guess, right? That perhaps they're sad, they're anxious, they're, uncomfortable, stressed, whatever. But all of those things until you get to know them. So first thing you need to know, and as soon as possible, and this is also part of your responsibility to initiate, to get to know your employer and his family. Ask questions, ask them to tell you stories. Look around the house, Look at the family picture album. Look around to see if there's pictures of other people, if there's paintings, if there's books, knickknacks on the shelves. Ask them about it, where they bought it, who it's for. The sooner that you get to know your employer, his background, his life history, what were his triumphs, what were his, disappointments, what were his losses in life, his, family members, friends, and so on. What was his occupation? All of those things are very important to get to know, because part of your job is to, to assist him in having a well-adjusted day-to-day life. And so you must know what makes him feel comfortable, relaxed, what makes him feel, less stressed, and so on. All of those things are going to be very, important tools in your toolbox to be a good caregiver, right? Some people like to be touched. Some people don't like to be touched. What kind of music they like, what kind of smells make them feel, happy and secure. We're all very much influenced by smells and touch, what kind of, food or spices. Sometimes certain food and spices may be offensive to you or to them. All those things are very important to know, okay? You probably all know that if you hear certain music, you automatically smile. It brings you back memories, makes you feel happy. And, it works the same for everybody. And so really, it's important for you to engage with your employer and his family and find out all those things, because you'll be needing those tools, perhaps if he's depressed, to change his mood, or, put on some music that he likes, and put something that makes him feel good in terms of smells. People, when they smell something nice and sweet baking in the oven or cooking in the microwave, automatically makes you smile. So all of those things are very important to learn as soon as possible. Compassion, sympathetic pity and concern for the suffering and misfortune of others. Compassion motivates people to go out of their way to help physical, mental, and emotional pains of another and themselves. Well, I assume that all of you have an enormous amount of compassion. You have definitely gone way out of your way, across the ocean and over the mountains, to come here to care for people, strangers, different country, different culture. So I'm sure that all of you have an enormous amount of compassion as part of your personality. And not everyone can do this job. I think you know that. It's, we're not technicians, we're not drivers, we're caregivers. And to be a caregiver is I think it's a privilege. It's a special job. And even people in the family sometimes, are not willing to be caregivers or able to be caregivers. So be proud of the fact that you are. I think it's a very noble profession. And hopefully it will be more enhanced. Your ability to be compassionate is a wonderful trait. So all of those are part of the care profession. The provision of what is necessary for the health, welfare, and maintenance and protection of someone or something. And you must understand that also, the family or your employer is actually relying on you for all of those things, to care for his health, his welfare, and to protect him and his property. That's a really big job, right? And I'll just say, about protection. So first of all, I think you should know that in general, Israel is a very safe country, even though you may have heard on the news and on, politics and things about, they only report bad things. So there are bad things that happen everywhere. But in general, I think you will find that it's a very safe country to live in, and streets are lit, and there are probably cameras everywhere in the world today on every street corner, but also in Israel for our own protection. And probably in the home that you're going to be working, there may also be some kind of electronical devices you know, sometimes alarms, sometimes cameras. All of those things are very prevalent, you know, in today's world. And if you have any questions about that, of course, you know, you can definitely ask your employer, and of course, Anat and I. So I invite you, what, in your opinion, is the most important value in caregiving work? Are there any values you believe that are important for caregiving work? Or do you have any other, you know, responses to what I've talked about so far? I invite you. If anyone would like to share an experience or a thought, please do. If anyone would like to tell us what made them come to, you know, to do this journey and work here in Israel, love to hear what your story is. If you've had experience in the past working abroad in a different country, please share with us.
Always respect your patient at all times, ma'am.
Hi. What is your name, Alex?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for sharing with us. What
For
did
me,
you
from my
say?
experience,
Repeat. I didn't hear
at
you.
all time, from my experience, I always respect my patient at all times to get more good relationship with your
Yeah,
patient.
very important, Alex. Thank you. Have you worked abroad before?
Yes, ma'am. In the healthcare, in geriatric care technician and long-term care in the hospital.
In a
Long-term
different country? In what country?
Saudi, ma'am. Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia. Okay. So do you speak Arabic?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. It will come in use here in Israel as well. Many Arabic speaking people, and you know, Hebrew is also a semantic language, so some of the words and you know so on sound similar. And of course, you know how to do this, right? Rega, 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 shwaya, shwaya.
Shwaya.
Shwaya, shwaya,
Aywa,
shwaya.
aywa.
All right, guys, everybody. Yeah,
Happy
let's all
skill.
do this. You cup your fingers together, you wave your hand up and down,
Yeah.
and in Hebrew we say rega, rega. That means slowly, slowly, a moment, a moment. But you got to do it with a smile, right? You got to
Right.
do it with a smile. All right, so everybody's already learned something important. Yes, we all have a lot of very loud interactions, a lot of body language, right? And okay, thank you for sharing, Alex. Anyone else would like to share a story about their experience? What's important?
I like to ask, any of you worked as caregivers before?
Yes, ma'am. Me.
Yes.
Local.
Hi.
Locally.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you
Okay.
tell us where?
In Taiwan.
Okay. And who did you care for, a man or a woman?
A woman, many, ma'am. There's 3 elderly men and 1 woman, ma'am.
Oh, okay, for a long time. And what
Yes.
language did you learn to speak there in Taiwan?
I know how to speak in Arabic and Mandarin and a little of sa Taiwan? Taigi.
Okay. Wow. So you're very fluent in quite a few languages. So hopefully you'll pick up Hebrew also within a short period of time. And
Inshallah.
inshallah, right. Be'ezrat Hashem, we say in Hebrew, the same thing. Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of God, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Thank you. And what did you learn? What is your most important value that you're taking with you and bringing here to Israel, to your work?
Maybe I can say that more of family oriented, because before I'm not that close,
To your
but not
family?
because of maybe because of my gender preference.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but because of dealing with other families, I've known that it's very important to know the family values and their respect for each other. That's why when I came back from home, from Philippines, I'm so very intact to my family. I know everything is. I want them to feel that I'm always there for them, not only for those people I'm working with. I want to be as
Wow.
compassionate. Yeah, everything.
So, so
I've
it's
learned
been
a lot.
a personal growth journey.
Yes, ma'am. Because before I was so stubborn.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice that you know that you've changed in some way that has made
yeah.
you a better person,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
that is our toolbox, as caregivers. The better
Yeah.
people we are, the better we do our professional work, right? That's just how it is,
Must be started from the home.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Being tolerant and open. Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to share
Thank you,
about
Mary.
working abroad? Yes.
Lisa?
Yes, ma'am. I think the most important value in a caregiving work is you always what do you call this one, treat your patient not just as the patient but also your family, because they are the one that you are going to take care with. And being always try to help them, always being what do you call, always being open with them and with your employers. We caregivers should respect them the most, and especially that their loved ones that you're going to um, take care with.
Okay. Thank you for sharing
That's
that.
all, ma'am.
I want to also add to the list of things that I talked about in terms of values. I think perseverance is an important value that you should be able to kind of put in your toolbox. And what I mean is, to be able to, you've made a commitment to come to stay for a long time. It's going to have difficult difficulties. It's not always easy. The job that you took onto yourself, caring for people that are in compromised positions mentally, behaviorally, physically, and so on. And I think being able to persevere difficult situations is a very important trait. Not to give up right away. Oh, this is too difficult. Oh, I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think it would be like that. And so to give your 100% in trying. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in any kind of a situation where you are being abused, God forbid. But I'm just saying that, you have to give it your 100%. And I want to say that very often in the beginning, when you are entering a person's household, everybody has expectations, and we'll talk about that a little later. But I think that not to be overwhelmed with expectations, because everybody has a different attitude towards what's going to be, and sometimes they're not even aware of what the attitude may be. And some people want the caregiver to be part of the family, a daughter, a son, a husband, a wife, a friend, I don't know. And maybe the caregiver is not really that for that, it's not. So you have to be sensitive and be able to persevere, okay? Because I think that you have to know that it's a difficult situation for you and for them, and it's a new role. Everybody knows how to be a brother, a son, a father, a daughter, a neighbor, a friend, a cousin, whatever. But being a live-in caregiver is a new role to play for them and for you, okay? And with each family, obviously, it's very different. It's not, it's like a different role. So So you have to be, kind of conscious of the fact that you have to persevere and give it a long-term chance to work out. Okay. Very good. I'm going to go on to the next subject, and the next subject is gender aspects of caregiving work. Okay. So firstly, I want to say that Israel in general is a tolerant country for all kinds of gender issues. And today we tend to, think of gender as on a spectrum from 1 to 10. At one point, at one end it may be men, at the other point end may be women, and sometimes there's a lot of in between. And in general, Israel is a country that's generally very tolerant. And depending on where you are, what kind of community you're going to be working, you'll encounter, I hope, open-mindedness about different gender issues. I also want to say that most likely your employers are going to be more conservative in their understanding of those issues. So like I said, like any other trait that you're coming with as an individual, as a person, you will be respected for who you are because of the work that you do, right? And not because of other irrelevant issues. On the other hand, there are other aspects of gender issues that I do want to point out. A few facts about gender and care work. Although most of the caregivers are women, there are also many men who are caregivers, especially when a man needs to be cared for. Some of the female caregivers provide care for a man or live in the home where a man lives, and some of the male caregivers provide care for a woman or live in a home where a man may live. So firstly, I want to talk about the fact that here you are, a young person coming into a stranger's life, speaking gently, touching gently, behaving politely, but in interacting in all kinds of intimate situations, right? Bathing, feeding, clothing. And so you must understand that sometimes people, your employer or perhaps someone else in his family may approach you in an inappropriate way and try to take advantage of you sexually, okay, and may misunderstand your gentleness, your kindness, your smiling face, your gentle touch as, as some kind of an interaction that provokes him sexually. So first of all, it's very important to know how to deal with these kind of situations. You must respond immediately and say, no, this is not the intention. This is not, this is not going to happen. You are here to do this kind of a job and that kind of a job and nothing else. And you must look a person in the face and be very direct and very open about not participating in any kind of activity, being sexually abused or anywhere else, if it's, of course, not your intention. Okay, very direct, very forward, very to the point. Okay, because if you're not, you may be misunderstood for cooperating. Okay, if you're embarrassed, if you're shocked, if you're, are overwhelmed, you don't know what to do. So I'm telling you what to do. You look a person in the face and you say, no, this is not the intention. I'm a kind, gentle caregiver and I take care of you, but nothing else is intended. Okay. So how does gender contribute to the caregiving relationship? Men usually take care of children, adults, parents, women as spouses and other family members. There are also men who have these abilities. Women naturally have the ability to care for others with empathy, compassion, concern, and love. But men can also have good caregiving abilities, and some men like to care for their family or be in the caregiving field. Your caregiving qualities are an asset. Be proud of them and use your caregiving abilities to provide good quality care. So again, I want to say, you must be minded of how your energy changes the atmosphere in the home. Okay, you're young, you're energetic, you're strong, you're intelligent and so on. And so just having that kind of energy in the home has effects, even though you have only good intentions and a clear heart, but sometimes it can provoke jealousy in the spouse. Oh, she smiles at him, she smiles at her, he does a better job, not all kinds of issues people have in their heart and in their mind that may provoke negative interaction where no bad intention has come forth. So you just have to be minded and to be sensitive and intelligently deal with sometimes issues like that. Okay. And people never know how they're going to respond. So I say again, take the time to get to know your employer so that there's an interaction of trust building there, and also learn the pattern of the way things are done, and not to rush, right? Not to rush to do things better, stronger, just gently kind of move into their rhythm of life. Gender issues. When treating a man or being close to the patient and spouse, sexual harassment may occur, and it's important to be aware of it. Here are a few tips on how to deal with sexual harassment. There's a YouTube presentation that you can watch at your own time, and perhaps it will give you some more tips on how to deal with these kind of situations. Okay. And I would like to ask if anyone would like to share if they've had an experience where they cared for a person that is not of their own sex, perhaps of a different sex, a man caring for a woman or a woman caring for a man, or if they've had some kind of an experience where this was an issue. Perhaps in Arabic countries, people have different attitudes about how, what is right, what is wrong, how to attend to people that you're caring for. If you'd like to share with us, we'll all learn from you, please do. You have to put your mic on if you're going to speak.
Me, ma'am, again.
Hi, yes, go ahead.
When I was in Kuwait, ma'am, my employer, my baba, wanted to have, we're all adults, have sex with me, but I told them, haram, no. I went here to work. I didn't went here to have sex with you, sir. I don't want to die. I still want to go home. I don't want to get an affair with you because you're a married man.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you were approached sexually, and you told your employer that this is inappropriate,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and then he understood, and you weren't harassed anymore.
No, he tried many times. He tried
Okay.
to show his penis to me.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
many times. But I ignoring him and always telling him it's haram.
Okay.
Haram, don't do that to me. I'm here to work. Don't let me go home by a coffin. I still want to go home to my family alive.
Okay. Being sexually approached and harassed is something that people deal with in all kinds of employment areas, right? It's not just in when you're living and caring for a person at home. In many jobs, offices, stores, wherever men and women are working together, it's, there's always the possibility of being approached either by your boss or co-workers in an inappropriately sexual manner, right? This happens in all kinds of job situations, not just, but also in job situations. But again, I stress, first of all, you don't have to be alone with this situation, okay? You need to respond like you were sharing with us that you said, no, this is not part of the job, and that you're not interested. And also, if it persists, please feel free to contact either CIMI, the call center, the social worker, in the employment agency that is connected to you, and perhaps maybe other family members. This is not something that you need to deal with on a continuous manner by yourself. Okay, I just want to say that. Anat, do you want to add something?
Yes, please. One time is enough. One time, if someone is trying to arrest you, one time, you don't wait, okay? please contact the agency, the call center. Okay, you definitely do not need to handle it by yourself. Of course, if you know your patient have dementia or and it's hard, please talk to the family. Maybe they are aware that you have some kind of a problem. But in any case, if something like that will happen, of course, if it makes you feel very uncomfortable, and I can assure that at least some of you, which I hope it will never happen to any of you, but some are, it's more, it's I guess easier for them to react. And bravo, Mary Joy, for reacting, for putting a step down. You put your boundaries, but in case like this in Israel, you should not have to keep working in a home where you're being arrested. You can, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Please contact the call center. You can contact the agency, and your employer will be assigned to you. Okay, you will not have to stay there. You don't have to wait for a second time. Please.
And that, this is a kind of a situation where, yes, but it's not just sexual abuse, okay? Any other kind of abuse, if you're feeling that your employer is not interacting with you on a genuine, honest level in any kind of, if you feel you're being taken advantage of. So no, but there are many inappropriate behaviors that you may encounter, especially if you're going to be caring for dementia patients. And so I don't know if you've had any kind of experience with dementia patients, but I will say bad behavior or bad social behavior is very often part of that. And, it can be verbal, it can be, all kinds of, the imagination can take you wherever. So being abused is not part of the job. And so you must report it. You must, in a genuine professional way, try to find ways that it will be dealt with, okay? Sometimes medication helps in all kinds of, social behavior. Not just having a person sleep 24 hours a day so that he doesn't behave in a difficult manner, but there are many different ways to deal with issues. And the most important thing is not to be alone. Okay, if you don't know how to deal with the situation, I always say you don't need to invent the wheel. The wheel has been invented. There are so many professionals around you that have experienced everything that you can, that you may encounter, and they will have suggestions and and be there for you to find ways to deal with it or find you different employment. That's it. That's, those are the options. Okay. Okay, everybody, let's take a 5-minute break and we'll come back and talk about more important things.
All right, everyone, 5 minutes.
Good to see everyone. Wait 1 second. I'll be back.
Hoy, wait lang naman.
Okay. So everyone, would anyone else like to comment about any kind of experience that you've had caring for a person of a different sex from you, how it was difficult or not difficult, or if anyone has any questions that they'd like to, present?
Yes,
Anat, are
ma'am.
you with us? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I'm here.
I was experiencing in Taiwan. I take care 88 years old dementia patient. I was taking care of her, but when the time that I was feeding her, she slapped me here. Immediately slapped like that, so very very hurt. And then, but I don't respond.
We kind of lost you. We didn't hear what you said about how you responded. Are you with us?
Yeah. And what I do is I still go for my work. I still show my patient the love and care, and then after a long time, because I think maybe I
Your
can feel that
internet,
she don't
is
still
not.
care for
your-
her, and
Hold on. Can we ask
not
you
good.
to close your camera and try again? Maybe we'll be able
We
to
didn't
hear you
hear
better.
you. Mm.
Hello? Close the camera.
Okay, now talk to us.
Yeah. Patient slapped me at my face.
And how did you respond?
Um, just later after I feed my patient, I talked to her slowly. I said, don't because it's not good. It's hurt. And then but I keep working. I show her the tender love and care as a caregiver. I keep working, and then a long time at the long time maybe yung pang naawa. She a long time maybe she liked me because after a long time I want to go because it's my finish I have to go Philippines, but she don't want me to go like that.
So you understood that it was a moment that she, she couldn't control what she was doing, but it's,
Yeah,
very
I
important
just
not to take bad behavior personally, okay? It's hard,
yeah, I
because
understand
once
because of her situation.
right, it's part of the disease, it's part of the not being able to control actions, thoughts. Exactly. But also usually those kind of moments pass and then sometimes they don't remember, sometimes, it's not connected to whatever is happening in the situation, and okay, very, very nice that you responded professionally and didn't take it personally, right? This is a very difficult situation to manage and you did it well. Good for you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else would like to share something we can learn from?
For those who are doing this for the first time, are you worried about something? Because I'm assuming you are, but you're not saying. And we'd like to hear your voice and see if maybe we can ease some of your concerns. How many of you are doing it for the first time in caregivers?
Me.
Oh, okay, Mary.
Ma'am,
And what is your name?
I'm Mary Joy Ibanez.
So you, Mary Joy, okay?
Yeah.
So the one who's sitting with you, what's her name?
Hi.
I'm a first time OFW caregiver, and I'm worried about how to deal with other
you know,
Interact other family.
Patient,
other, yeah.
the opposite sex.
But I'm praying and hoping that my employer is kind, loving, because I'm kind and loving too.
That's wonderful.
Well,
Yes.
I will tell you a few things. But first, let me ask you, Mary, where are you going to be working?
I'm be working in Tel Aviv, Yafu.
Okay. And you're
Yeah.
going to be caring for a man or a woman?
Women, blind women, diabetic.
For a diabetic blind woman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, I'm sure she's going to love you because I already see that within the 5 minutes you've been on the screen, you haven't stopped smiling and
Thank you.
and laughing and giggling, and that is very contagious. It's kind of hard.
Wow.
So I got news for you. Even if you're a blind person, you can hear a person smile. You know that?
Yeah.
You know that you can hear a person smile? Absolutely. It's part of the, part of the voice. So I'm sure that you're going to be just fine. And Tel Aviv is incredible.
Oh, wow. Well
I
done.
live in Tel Aviv and it's going to be a very, very thrilling experience for
Nice
you.
to hear that, ma'am. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
I hope that makes you a little bit more relaxed.
It actually helped me after hearing that from you, ma'am.
Yes. You know that you can hear people smile. Dealing with, does she speak English, your employer?
Speak
That-
English daw.
Does your
She speaks in English, Spanish, and Hebrew.
She speaks. Oh, so she's an
Okay.
intelligent woman and she's had, she's probably very worldly and you're going to have a learning experience. All right. Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else would like to share something? Thoughts?
Me, my mom, I have a very, very nice experience in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I was working there in the hospital. I have one patient. He's a Saudi. He's at 25 years old. She was studying in Canada, and then during that Ramadan, she's go vacation in Saudi, and then he's accidentally car accident,
Ooh.
and then I am the first one to taking care of him. During that time, he has a tracheostomy in the neck, in the tracheostomy, and then I take care of him, and then he continue getting good, and then during he knows me, my name, he knows me everything. If I'm in duty, nobody can enter his room, only me. If I duty at the night, I will go eat with him in the breakfast. If some if I'm off, he calling me like that. During that time I'm off, I go in the other place, calling my other place in Qatif, in Saudi. One of my colleague called me, his name is Grian, was unconscious. During my off, I go very fast, go back to the hospital during my off time. And then he was transferred in the other hospital. His father told, asked to the director, I am the one who sent him in the other place. But I'm not allowed because I don't have a license being a nurse. And then he's crying.
So you
And-
became very attached to your employer and you were very devoted and they knew how to appreciate all of that,
Yeah.
devotion and care and love that you gave him. But I didn't catch, how old was this employer that you cared for?
5 years old.
35?
25, ma'am, 25.
25. Oh, that's such a big tragedy. Okay. Yes,
And then
very
he
tragic.
an iPhone, I received that iPhone, and then I returned in his mother.
Wow. Okay. So you had, so you had a very interesting experience for caring. It's this is our job. We are caregivers, right? This is the job that we do, and yes, if we do a good job, we are appreciated, and yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else would like to share an experience about care job that they had? If not, I will continue. So let's talk a little bit about an intercultural encounter. Okay, intercultural differences are differences in traditions, food, norms, beliefs, values, which vary between nations, people of ethnic groups, speakers of different languages. Every culture has its own way of expressing itself. Every culture has its own way of defining conflict, passing messages, resolving conflicts, and talking about it. Every culture has its own way to express emotions and talk about emotions. And I would say that most cultures, people don't really express emotions unless they unless they feel close and comfortable to a person, right? But in Israel, as perhaps in other Middle Eastern countries, people talk loudly with a lot of pathos in their voice. They use a lot of body language. And sometimes it may be interpreted as being, aggressive or fighting, but not necessarily so. So perhaps if you see people in the family that you're going to be working with talking, vehemently and discussing loudly issues, perhaps you don't know the language yet, and you may think they're fighting, and not necessarily so. They're just expressing themselves in that way. And that's, pretty common in Israel to speak loudly, interrupt people, talk into each other, that kind of a thing. So basically, I think that this is going to be a very big learning curve for you, and you must be minded that it is your responsibility to learn, right? Everything about the family, everything about the way they do things, everything that what they expect you to do, of course. And I want to say something about these Corona times. This is a crazy time for the whole world. I think everybody knows that. And Israel is one of those countries that we're a small country. Most people are vaccinated. Most people are mindful of staying healthy, and whatever the government and the Ministry of Health tells us to do, we try to do that. But it's like forever changing, right? So whatever is proper today to do, not may necessarily be so tomorrow. So of course you have to be on guard and be in tune to what's, what are the things that we're required to do, right? But in general, I just want you to know that everybody has become very introverted, not seeing friends, not going out, not participating in activities that have been part of our life in the past, especially, people that are disabled. And so you must know that their life, as small as it is, has become even smaller because of the corona in the past year or so. And even being distanced from family and friends and neighbors, people are kind of suspicious of, should I go see them? Am I going to get sick from them or not? All of those things have made everybody, very, how should I say, very down emotionally about life in general. And so I think that you must know how important your skills as a young person, and using, like we are doing now, the media in order to interact with friends and family and activities that we like, prayer groups, lectures, whatever, everything is on the media today. You'll be spending a lot of time, your free time, on your computer, on your laptop, on your phone, right? Because that's how you communicate with everybody that you love and want to share your life with. And so I would like you to be conscious of how important that would be for you also to facilitate your employers, okay? If your employer is very savvy on using the computer and does it on his own independently, well, wonderful. But I have a feeling that they are probably not so, good on using the computer or the phone or whatever. And so be mindful that you can definitely assist them in broadening their horizons and broadening their, their social encounters and so on with the use of the media. And so be proactive. Find out if there's a Viber group, a WhatsApp group for the family. You know, give them a report once a week. We had a good week. We had this and this coming, this and this going. It was difficult, whatever. You know, be proactive in maintaining the relationships that your employer needs in order to make his life more meaningful and for his general well-being. Make a list of all the kids, all the grandchildren, what their numbers are, so that they don't have to wait for the grandchildren to, you know, to interact with them. You do the calling. You call and say, hi, grandma wants to say hello. Where are you? You know, Facebook, whatever. Yeah, that will make you so much more valuable in your employer's life, right? And you know that this is the new world we're all coming into, right? And so yes, use your knowledge in that respect as well to broaden your, you know, to make your employer's life that much better. This is your job as a caregiver, right? Not just to clean and cook, but also to care for their emotional and psychological well-being. So how to adjust to a new culture? Be patient and give yourself time. It's important that you keep your culture and customs and traditions. And if you want to, it's important that, you know, you maintain whatever activities you do. If you pray, pray. If you meditate, meditate, exercise, sing, whatever, you know, very important that you maintain your own emotional strength, right? A few tips to how to adjust to a new culture you can find on this YouTube presentation that you can look at later at your own time. And again, I invite you. What have you heard about Israelis, about Jewish people, about, you know, how hard it is to learn Hebrew? Do you have any concerns about adjusting to Israeli culture, the politics? Do you have any questions? Please ask, share. Anyone?
So, beside the fact that from what I heard Israel pays well. What made you decide to come to Israel? Oh, that was the only reason.
Would
Have you
anyone like to
heard
tell
about
us?
Have you heard about Israel before?
It's a holy
Yes,
place.
we do.
Hmm?
Wait, Alex, is that you talking about the holy place?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
before, this is my ambition to come in this place.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay. So you're a spiritual person. You've come to the right place.
Yes, ma'am. Because before, when I was finished study caregiver, I applied in the agency going here in the Israel, but I'm not qualified. And
Oh.
then I work in Taiwan, and then I work in Saudi. When I will go home vacation, I cannot come back in Saudi. This is my chance to go in the Israel because I see Israel is hiring for a caregiver. This is my chance. That's why I come here
All
to
right.
visit the place. Maybe this is the sign of God for me. My ambition before to go in the country in Israel. Now I'm here. Maybe he hear my pray.
So this is your calling to be
Yeah.
part of our caregiving team.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Wonderful. Yes, I think that you're going to be happy here. And what city are you going to be working in?
Ma'am, again?
What
When are you
city?
going to?
I can't hear.
What
Are you
city?
going? Sorry.
Beersheba.
In
Beersheba.
Beersheba. All right. Okay. Very good. It's a nice place, Beersheba.
In the south.
Mm-hmm.
Too much beer.
Again?
Just kidding.
Didn't hear you.
I said Beersheba is too much beer. Just kidding.
Okay. Okay. Beersheba is very nice. It's one of those cities that is now changing very rapidly. A lot of building, it has a lot of business, a lot of cultural centers, big university, a lot of young people. It's a very nice place to live.
Very good health facilities and one of the biggest hospitals in Israel, and many students.
Right. Big
Many
university city.
Yes, one of the biggest and very good university. So over the years, it became like a place, a city,
A cultural center with the focus on students and student kind of culture for passing the time, bars, restaurants, kinds of things. Yes, Beersheba is very nice. And a lot of new high-tech business is now coming into the area. Good place to be. And it's not far from anywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
45 minutes on the bus and you're everywhere.
Important is
not in the north.
Anat, a while ago, someone in my family was telling me that they had a guest speaker at the Beersheba University, and he was asked, "So how was your experience in Israel as in the Beersheba University lecturer?" And he said, "Oh, I loved it. I loved being close to the ocean." And so everybody said, "In Beersheba, you were close to the ocean?" "Yes, it's only an hour drive away." So, exactly.
There is something real nice that the students in Ben Gurion University, the one in Beersheba, they started a really nice thing for the population in Beersheba. There is something like a share bus for people. At the time, it only cost 10 shekels for each one, and they had on the weekend, because there is not much public transportation, if any. So they came up with the idea of bringing the ocean closer to the people. So they have like real nice thing going on over there, and the students there are very proactive and close to the community and doing things for the community to help to bring more access to further places in the weekend. So if you have some time off, try to look out for those things that the students have some different programs for the community. So and it's not expensive. It's real nice. And the train station there, it's very good. And you can go by train to like along the country to the north. This is the last stop of the train in Beersheba, and then you can go all the way north.
Good place. The nice thing about Israel, it has everything. It has desert, mountains, snow, beaches, everything. Very close. 2 or 3 hours, you're anywhere. So anyone else have something they want to share, what they know about Israelis, what they think they know about Israel? Any questions?
Ma'am, can I ask? Because my destination is on Abdon. So,
Ashdod.
Abdon. So I searched on Google. I could not find much.
Yeah, I can't find it in my head either. Where is it?
Abdon.
You're not saying it correctly because it doesn't sound familiar. Say again.
Avdon. Avdon.
Avadon. Okay.
Where is that?
It's with N at the end, right?
Avdon
is near Shlomi.
Really? I've never heard of that.
North. Yeah, it's a small place. זה מאוד קרוב לכברי ולאילון ולכל האזור.
לא מכירה את הסביבה, okay.
No.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's in the north. Beautiful area. It's a small place. It's not even a town. It's a very small place.
Community.
Small community, but very nice. You know what? I'm gonna write it down and tell me if this is what's written. Abdon or
Who are you going to be caring for, a man or a woman? What do you know about the family?
The patient is a woman, but she lives with her husband. She's 73 years old and post CVA stroke patient.
Okay. So she's relatively young and
Yes, that's the spelling about AVDON.
that's
Yes.
the spelling. Okay, so
AVDON.
I know exactly where it is. I can there's not a lot to say about this place. I can tell you that there is I think okay. There is a place there. I'm not sure how to explain it.
מה יש שם?
נחשייה מאוד גדולה.
All right. So Anat wants you to know that there is a snake farm there. A very big snake farm. All right.
I'm starting to get scared now.
You know, that's
I'm
why
starting to worry.
What a weird thing to have. Have you been there, Anat?
It's
Really?
very close to my family, to my parents.
Oh, all right. So
Yeah.
tourists come to see the snake farm.
Oh no.
It's a private. Don't worry.
I'm sure your employers don't have any snakes around. Not to worry.
So don't
Yes,
try to go outside.
Oh
No, you don't have to worry. I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's a very green area, a lot of flowers and a lot of nature. And yeah, and I'm sure you're going to be very well received by the family. If they're a couple, then
that's a moshav. I'm gonna send you here on the chat group for everyone to see if anyone else like to see where you're going to stay. Here, Sarah, you can see also.
I'm going to stop the share and you can share.
Oh, no, you know what? Okay, go ahead.
I stopped my share so you can share the screen.
Okay, let me see for a second. And which one?
Moshav, you know, in Israel, there are different kinds of definitions for communities. There is a city, there is a small community, and a moshav is usually an agricultural cooperative community. So that people have some kind of either property where they grow agricultural things, you know, or maybe they have chicken, or maybe they have livestock, but it's usually an agricultural community. If, you know, sometime, maybe it was in the past and now people don't, you know, deal with agriculture, but work in big cities, but just continue to live in that area. So it's very different, okay?
Ooh, you're
What
gonna
does
have
it say?
food.
Avdon, what does it say? Ooh, look at the beautiful
village was
view.
established, in 1952 by immigrants from Iran and Tunisia. So you're gonna have good food. Nice. And was initially named Kfar Avdon.
Okay, immigrants from Azerbaijan region of Iran in the Moshav were commissioned and okay. Oh, so they do a lot of handicrafts, like maybe sewing and embroidering. Okay.
It's nice. Let me see if I can go
They
back.
grow avocado, lychees, and bananas. All right.
Ooh, that's nice.
Okay.
You see, this is the area. Here you can see it's a beautiful area. Let me see.
Okay. And
Really
what you
good.
see is that because they live in such a beautiful area, many people have businesses where for tourists, they build these little, hideaway places where people come for a day or 2 or 3 just a vacation. And they have like a hot tub and maybe, Jeep trips and nature walks. And this area probably has that kind of a business going as well. So many of the, farmers have all kinds of, businesses going. I don't know what this particular family does, but that's how it is. There's a grocery store. Okay.
No, it's about 20 minutes from the beach.
All right, not too
20
far.
minutes from the beach.
Yeah,
That's
the coffee. What?
20 minutes from the beach.
20.
Oh,
By car, not by walking, by car.
Oh,
It is
okay.
possible to walk, but I
More than
recommend-
20 minutes.
Yeah, it will take more, and it's in a beautiful area close to Betet Beach and Achziv, and close to Rosh Hanikra, which is up
Some
in the
nice
north.
places. Tourists come there all the time.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll be very happy, not to worry. Anyone else want to share questions about
Thank you.
Israel, about what's to expect, what they've heard?
How about Yavne, ma'am?
Yavne?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's a nice place. Anat, you want to tell them about Yavne? Take them on a virtual tour with Google.
Not a virtual tour. Yeah, let's see. Listen, you're the first time it's the first time we're doing something like that. Let me see, where can I show you? I have so many windows open.
אני הולך יחד עם השר, הבנתי, שמעת כבר? שבחמש יש להם מסע.
בסדר, ראיתי, אבל...
יאללה.
אבל אני מבקשת להיות פה ב6:30, איך שנגמר המסע. ובאים לפה. אוקיי.
This is Yavne. I'm not sure what to say about that area. Oh, many English translations. A bit, okay, Bible. Let's see.
It's a religious?
No, I don't think it's that religious. I know there are many religious people there.
It's a city, first of all.
Yeah. It's one of the agencies in the southern coastal plain. Okay. As far as I know, it's a big city, and there is many things to do over there, and it's close to many places. Let's see a bit. Let's learn about
Nat?
Yes. All right.
When you say big city, you have to put some parameters on that.
Okay.
Big cities, not in terms of Israel. It's a small city.
Okay, look what I found. It's walking
looks nice.
Looks
very nice.
Yeah, but I want to tell you, we're not going to go over every city right now, or in general. And it's at, wow, 1 hour and 15 minutes Zoom walking in Yavne.
Well,
So,
guys, you have Google. You can do it yourself. Find the city, do a virtual tour, get acquainted
Yeah, but
with
mates, come on.
wherever you're going to be. Right.
same, but it seems very nice. And ooh, a lot of archaeology there. So also a touristic area. And I can send you
Thank you, Miss Anat.
not a
I'll
problem.
do research by myself.
Okay,
Mhm.
here's the link.
Good to get to know the place before.
Thank you.
What
Never-
did we do before Google?
Oh goodness. I don't know about you, but I used to walk around with maps. I really like to learn the geographic roads in Israel and locations. So go ahead, I invite you to do that. Israel is beautiful. In general, it's beautiful. And I recommend to walk around, to travel, to visit all the places. So beautiful. There's a reason why it calls the holy country. I recommend to travel. And there's a lot to see. If it's art or agriculture, to learn about that, and archaeology, and just about, I think, everything. So are there any different type of questions?
Pasok mo.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I've heard that Israeli people, when they yell at us, if they are not that mad for the longest time, only for a few minutes. Is it true? Only few minutes?
It depends on the person, but in general, yeah,
Maybe you just have
from what
a
people that I know, I know many people, and yes, I can say that about 90% of them like that.
okay.
I will say something else. I will say that Israelis yell a lot, but
It's just the way we
it's
communicate.
in general, and that's it.
Yeah. Because
And
my
I
friends told
get
me when your employer shouted at you, don't get mad at him or embarrassed. Just take a deep breath and then smile, and then after that, everything is okay.
And you'll teach him that you can hear better when he doesn't yell.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. In a nice way, always.
You must understand that, language, we'll talk about that another time because our time almost over, but language and communication is such a difficult issue in the beginning when you are trying to form a relationship with your employer. English is not their first language, and English is not your first language. And so even if they speak English, it's really it's a difficult interaction of forming that relationship. And I assume that once you are a familiar person, there's no reason to yell, right? Everybody tries to speak in a normal manner, unless this is their normal manner to yell. I mean, so
Yes, ma'am.
so it's a very personalized kind of thing. Sometimes people yell because they don't hear well. This is often happens as well. People that don't hear well and are not willing, sometimes very often elderly people don't hear well. This is part of the systems that kind of change when your body becomes older. And using hearing aids is, very prevalent and very cheap, almost free in Israel, but it's also very difficult to adjust to it. So very often elderly people don't have hearing aids and find themselves yelling. That's true. but
Yes, ma'am.
but in
And I've heard
general,
that
yes. What have you heard?
95% of the Israelis are very kind. That's why I decided to come here instead of staying more in Taiwan, ma'am. Aside
right.
from the good salary itself.
Aha. We
Warm.
cannot underestimate a good salary. Everybody, this is hard work, everybody. This is very hard work. And
Yes, ma'am.
you know, even so, you're being compensated relatively better perhaps than other places in the world. But even so, it's not such a wonderful compensation. I mean, I was
Yeah.
a social worker all of my life. I'm a retired social worker now. And yeah, Nat knows we are not the highest paid employees on the scale of you know, of money, but it's our passion, and so this is what we do, right?
Yes.
You have to
And
be, you have to go through life enjoying your work and
yes,
feeling
ma'am.
that it's worthwhile, and yeah, and it should be compensated fairly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Israeli are very friendly and warm, and you'll get to see that yourself. All right,
All right.
everyone.
Right. So today is Friday, and Friday is a short work day for all of us. And as soon as the sun goes down, our Sabbath begins, which means that businesses are closed, transportation is closed until the end of, until the sundown of Saturday. And so I'm going to continue with my preparations for entertaining my family of 16 for dinner tonight. And I wish you all to have a nice, restful weekend, warm weekend. And we shall meet again on Sunday.
Exactly.
And again, if you have any questions or anything that you're concerned about, please feel free to use this format to, you know, to ask.
All right, everyone. So Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Use it
Shabbat
again.
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you.
shalom.
Shabbat
Tודה
shalom.
raba.
Enjoy being with your family.
Enjoy. And one last thing, I will send you many recordings after the meeting, okay, as promised, but even more now. So I will send it, but I won't be able, since it's Friday, I won't be able to stay available longer. So you can send me private messages if needed, but I'll be able to respond on Sunday, unless it's emergency or something that you like to send something today, okay?
Okay.
So I'll see you on Sunday, everyone.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
Hi,
shalom.
Stella. Shabbat shalom.
Toda raba.
Shabbat
Bye.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Say hi to your cat, ma'am.
Yes. Bye.
Say
Ma'am,
hi to your cat.
ma'am,
Your
may I see your cat,
meow.
ma'am? May I see
What?
your cat?
Meow meow.
To your cat, your pet.
Ah, I have 4 and a dog. So I'll say
Oh.
them also Shabbat shalom when you're yeah.
Bayan.
Bye.
Sayang naman, hindi ko makita.
Bye.
Eh,